What's happening around the world and what's happening here at home? A very good evening to and welcome to Weekend Primetime News. I'm Sandro Ferdinando. Let's take a look at your headlines for tonight.
Former intelligence chief Nilantha Jayawardena found guilty of all charges, dismissed from police service. Catholic Church calls for appropriate legal action against those involved in Easter Sunday attacks, regardless of status.
පාස්කු ප්‍රහාරයේ වින්දිතයින් අවුරුදු 6ක් තිස්සේ ඊළන මේ ඉල්ලීම ඉටු කරන්නට කියලා අපි ආයාචනාත්මකව ඉල්ලා සිටිනවා.
Solicitor General Viraj Dayaratna appointed head of the Criminal Division of the Attorney General's Department. Son of parliamentarian Jagat Vitana remanded until the 1st of August. Ukrainian president ready for face-to-face talks with Russian president.
Starting off with news here at home, the Attorney General's Department has launched a study into the findings revealed during the disciplinary inquiry conducted by the National Police Commission regarding Nilantha Jayawardena. The department stated that further appropriate action will be taken against him thereafter.
The Police Commission has decided to immediately dismiss from the police service Senior Deputy Inspector General of Police Nilantha Jayawardena, former Director of the State Intelligence Service, who was previously sent on compulsory leave. National Police Commission Chairman Lalit Ekanayake said that the decision was made because Jayawardena was found guilty of all charges levelled against him. Nilantha Jayawardena served as the Director of the State Intelligence Service when the Easter Sunday attacks occurred on the 21st of April 2019. The Presidential Commission of Inquiry investigating the attack had made several recommendations against him for failing to act to prevent the attack despite receiving intelligence information. The Commission's report stated that the State Intelligence Service failed to properly investigate foreign intelligence received on the 4th of April 2019 prior to the Easter Sunday attack, and also failed to present that information to law enforcement agencies. It further noted that Nilantha Jayawardena, who was the then Director of the State Intelligence Service, did not give due weight to that intelligence information. Given that Nilantha Jayawardena did not take intelligence seriously and thus bears criminal responsibility for the attack, the Presidential Commission had recommended criminal prosecution under appropriate provisions of the Penal Code. Furthermore, in accordance with the Supreme Court's decision on 13 fundamental rights petitions filed regarding the Easter Sunday attacks, Nilantha Jayawardena was ordered to pay 75 million in compensation to the victims of the attack from his personal funds. Based on all these facts, the National Police Commission, at its meeting on the 26th of October 2023, decided to file a charge sheet against Nilantha Jayawardena on the 17th of November 2023 for dereliction of duty. Subsequently, at its meeting on the 21st of March 2024, the National Police Commission decided to conduct a formal disciplinary inquiry against him. The report of this inquiry, conducted by a 3-member tribunal, was submitted to the Police Commission on the 4th of July 2024. According to the media release issued by the National Police Commission, 2 key observations were made. The formal disciplinary inquiry report concluded that Senior Deputy Inspector General Nilantha Jayawardena, who was on compulsory leave, was guilty of all charges mentioned in the charge sheet. These offences are categorized under the first schedule of offences that can be committed by public officers as per Chapter 2 of the Establishment Code. Against such a backdrop, the Attorney General's Department has initiated a special study concerning the findings of the National Police Commission disciplinary inquiry into Nilantha Jayawardena and other related matters.
Meanwhile, the Catholic Church is requesting that those found guilty in connection with the Easter attacks be brought before the courts regardless of their status.
We
request that anyone found guilty in connection with this matter, regardless of their status, even if it's a president, be punished, and that all this be done correctly. It's not just Nilantha Jayawardena. We know there are individuals whose names have been linked to the Easter Sunday attack. The Parliamentary Select Committee report, as well as the report from the Presidential Commission of Inquiry, state that they shirked their responsibilities and recommended disciplinary action against them. Therefore, we appeal to the President, the Inspector General of Police and the head of the CID to take disciplinary action against them as well and fulfill this request that the victims of the Easter Sunday attacks have been making for 6 years. Only then will a country be built in the future where people can live in an environment of fairness and justice.
මිනිස්සුන්ට ජීවත් වෙන්නට පුළුවන් පරිසරයක් ඇති වෙන රටක් අනාගතයේදී ගොඩනැගෙන්නේ.
The report of the Committee of Inquiry that probed the actions of IGP Deshabandhu Tennakon is scheduled to be submitted to the Speaker this week.
The inquiry committee appointed to investigate and report on the alleged misconduct and serious abuse of power by Deshabandhu Tennakon recently concluded its evidence-gathering phase. Supreme Court Justice Preeti Padman Surasena serves as the chairman of the committee. Retired Justice Neil Idhavela, chairman of the Commission to investigate allegations of bribery or corruption, and EWM Lalit Ekanayaka, chairman of the National Police Commission, are the other members of the committee.
Solicitor General Viraj Dayaratna has been appointed as the head of the Criminal Division of the Attorney General's Department. He was appointed to this position after Rohantabe Surya, who served as the head of the Criminal Division of the Attorney General's Department, was appointed to as the President of the Court of Appeal. Viraj Dayaratna has also served as the Acting Attorney General.
Still in local news, Rasika Vitana, who was taken into custody, has been remanded until the 1st of next month. This is after he was produced before the Mathugama Magistrates Court today.
Rasika Vitana, the son of parliamentarian Jagat Vitana, was taken into custody last evening in Mathugama in connection with an investigation into an illegally assembled jeep. The arrest was made by officers of the Watala Anti-Corruption Unit. He was arrested over a jeep purchased on the 16th of October 2024. According to the Watala Anti-Corruption Unit, the jeep in question is believed to be an assembled vehicle that was later registered with the Department of Motor Traffic. However, MP Jagat Vitana's faction claims that at the time of the purchase, the vehicle was financed through a financial institution and that it was bought from Rochelle Melanie Abegunawardena, the daughter of former Minister Rohita Abegunawardena. Documents related to the vehicle purchase, including the vehicle registration certificate and a letter confirming the payment made during the transaction, along with the relevant payment receipt, have been released to the media. Meanwhile, police say that a statement is to be obtained from Rochelle Melanie Abegunawardena, who is said to be the previous owner of the jeep. However, police also stated that she is currently not at her residence. Rasika Vitana had been handed over to the custody of Mathugama police by the Watala Anti-Corruption Task Force. President's counsel Rasik Zaruk and a team of 25 lawyers had appeared for the case, and the matter is scheduled to be taken up again on the 1st of August.
14 people, including 2 infants, have died in road accidents in the past 24 hours. The number of fatal road accidents that have occurred across the island during the period is 9.
An accident occurred last afternoon in Baduluwanguwa, Karambakatiya, along the Hunaskiriya Mimure road when a van skidded off the road and overturned. 6 people were travelling in the van at the time, including a young child. 4 people, 2 women and 2 men, died in the accident. The victims were residents of Watala, Kadawatha and Mirigama. They had been on holiday from Dubai and were on the 4th day of a 6-day trip when the crash occurred. A 4-year-old boy and another man sustained injuries and were initially admitted to the Teldenia District Base Hospital before being transferred to Kandy National Hospital. The parents of the injured boy were among those who lost their lives. Another fatal road accident occurred near the Kaulgalla junction along the Giriulla Narammala road. The accident occurred when a car travelling towards Kurunagala collided with a bus. At the time of the accident, 6 people, including 2 young children, were travelling in the car.
එකපාරටම සද්දයක් ආවා. දුවන එනකොට කාර් එකයි බස් එකයි හැපිලා කුඩුම වෙලා තින්නේ කාර් එක. ගන්නම දෙයක් නෑ. හිර වෙලා හිටියේ. යටිනින් දාලා ඇද කරලා ඒ මන්තයයි මං ගත්තේ ළමයාව අතට. ළමයා හිර වෙලා හිටියේ. අමරුවෙන් ගත්තා. ඉස්සරහා ගෑනු කෙනෙකුයි පිරිමි කෙනෙකුයි හිටියා. පිරිමියා හිර වෙලා හිටියේ. පිරිපතේ හිටියා. පිරිමි කෙනෙකුයි ගෑනු කෙනෙකුයි පොඩි ළමෙක් ඉඳලා තියෙනවා. ඒක දැක්කේ නෑ. හොයන්න බෑ. අතේ අරින්න බෑ රකණින් ගහලා කට්ටිය ආවා එකතු කරලා හරි අමාරුන් ගත්තා. අරන් ඉස්පිරිතාල වලට ඇරියා.
A 9-month-old infant, an 11-month-old infant and a 38-year-old man died in the accident. The other 3 injured individuals were initially admitted to Dambadeniya Hospital and later transferred to Kurunegala Teaching Hospital. 3 passengers travelling in the bus also sustained minor injuries in the accident.
A person has been fatally assaulted with sharp weapons in Heita, Watala. The victim has been identified as a 43-year-old resident, father of 3.
This murder took place yesterday at around 7 p.m. CCTV cameras in the vicinity captured how the assailants arrived to commit the murder. 4 masked individuals who arrived in a 3-wheeler entered a house in Alviswatta, Heita, Watala and fatally assaulted a person inside with a sharp weapon. The deceased has been identified as a resident of Mattakulia who was living on rent on the upper floor of the house with his wife and children. The 43-year-old victim was a father of 3. Police stated that he was an individual previously arrested on suspicion of aiding and abetting a murder that occurred in Mahabaghe in 2023. Further investigations are underway to apprehend the suspects.
Meanwhile, police have seized a T56 firearm from suspects who allegedly attempted to shoot the owner of a nightclub in Kollupitia. A scuffle had broken out between the nightclub's security guards and the suspects.
Investigations so far have revealed that the suspects entered the nightclub yesterday morning with the intention of shooting the owner of the club. Meanwhile, the suspect's escape was captured by CCTV camera. Police said that the suspect's target was the elder brother of an organized criminal. Police further added that the investigations revealed that the suspects arrived there with the knowledge and backing of another organized crime gang. A magazine with 25 rounds has also been taken into police custody. Police also said that the motorcycle used by the suspects has been seized.
Are you the one with a talent the world has never seen? A visionary genius? To Sri Lanka's Got Talent PO Box 100 Ratmalana or WhatsApp us on 076 599 7788.
Welcome back. Continuing in more local news. Marking boundaries of 48 ancient tank reserves across the island began yesterday. Deputy Minister of Lands and Irrigation Dr. Susil Ranasinghe stated yesterday that the surveying and demarcation of 1222 tanks reserves, or rather 22 tank reserves alone, will be completed within this year.
The demarcation of tank reserve boundaries in the districts of Anuradhapura, Hambantota, Galle, Trincomalee, Mannar and Polonnaruwa is scheduled to be completed this year. A sum of 100 million rupees has been allocated for this program this year. Meanwhile, at a press conference held yesterday, the Frontline Socialist Party commented on the marking of tank reserve boundaries.
Yesterday, Agriculture Minister Comrade Lanka made a statement saying that all unauthorized constructions encroaching on tank reservations must be removed. He said yesterday that the program will start from Anuradhapura today. He primarily blames farmer organizations, telling the people at the meeting that everyone should support this. We would like to remind Comrade Lanka in great camaraderie to stop these empty boasts and come to Polonnaruwa. Come and see who is encroaching on the tank reservations at the Parakrama Samudra. Is it farmers' organizations, leaders, the general public, or is it large-scale capitalists? Everyone in Polonnaruwa knows how Dudley Sirisena's Suduaraliya hotel is encroaching on the Parakrama Samudra. Therefore, we tell Lalkantha and his people, instead of boasting, if you can, come to Polonnaruwa and show us that you can remove those hotels, including Suduaraliya, owned by these large-scale capitalists who are illegally occupying land.
Meanwhile, speaking at a program held today in Anuradhapura, Minister K.D. Lalkantha made the following comments.
We've started surveying the tank reservations now. There are specific tanks for this year. There are more tanks. So some people ask about Dudley's hotel at Parakrama Samudra in Polonnaruwa, saying it hasn't been included in this initiative this time. We are talking about reclaiming the tank reservations. So let anyone say whatever they want. However, I can assure you all, if you too are occupying tank reservations, if you are, as I said the day before yesterday, if there are people running hotels or doing anything else, leave before we remove you. We will definitely remove them. Whether it's Dudley Sirisena or anyone else, no one is too big for us.
Women and Child Affairs Minister Saroja Savitri Paulraj said that early childhood development should be transformed into a concept-centric education. The minister expressed these views today in Colombo while participating in a program for the National Week of Early Childhood Care and Development.
The program was organized under the theme Punchi apata lowa dinanna sellamatat idak denna, which loosely translates to Give us space to play, to conquer the world. In early childhood development, we shouldn't be teaching mathematics, science or English. We should focus on educational concepts. As a government, our vision for early childhood development is that it's crucial in a child's journey to becoming a citizen and in creating future citizens. Early childhood education should be concept-centric education. If we build an education system focused on concepts, we can elevate the education indicator in the country's sustainable development. That is when we can create a generation with imagination and the ability to express emotions and impulses. Crime decreases in a society where emotions can be expressed correctly. Therefore, we have the task of revisiting these abandoned concepts. We believe that this early childhood period is where we should begin an education that provides us with concepts.
News First with the people.
Samagi Janabalawega MP Chaminda Vijayasiri says that following the election defeat, the party must be reorganized and a new team must step forward.
After
losing a few elections, the party needs to reorganize some things to win the next one. I believe this should come with real change, a genuine team. Globally, prosperous nations succeed because they rely on intelligent, skilled individuals armed with knowledge, wisdom, resolve and strength who can safeguard their economies and defend their citizens. This is exactly the kind of team that should take Samagi Janabalawega forward. So I think the party has to make this move. It's not about pointless shouting, false accusations or meaningless blame. What we need is a solid, well-structured team. At the same time, the party must carefully decide on who should step down, who should be removed, and how to bring in new teams and new roles. This isn't about hiding problems or making excuses, because we simply need to develop the right plan to lead the country forward.
Meanwhile, Deputy General Secretary of the Samagi Janabalawega, Parliamentarian Mujibur Rahman, said that there are no talks on removing the opposition leader.
I need to state clearly that there are no secret discussions about changing the opposition leader. To our knowledge, no such secret discussions have taken place anywhere. Furthermore, there has been no such need or idea within the Samagi Janabalawega parliamentary group. However, we observe a situation where various attacks are being launched from outside, aiming to divide the Samagi Janabalawega and weaken its leadership.
වයසට ගිහිල්ලා නෙවෙයිනේ. අපිත් මේ අවුරුදු නෑ මම මේ කියන්නේ වයසට ගිහිල්ලා නෙවෙයිනේ.
No, I'm saying this beard didn't turn white due to old age. When a party is in the opposition, the ruling government desires to break that opposition. So it seems to me that this government is doing the same thing.
ඒ වැඩේ කරනවයි කියන එක තමයි මට පේන්න තියෙන්නේ.
Nizam Karyapar of the Sri Lanka Muslim Congress, a constituent party of the Samagi Jana Sandhana, says there is still no consensus on a sustainable long-term program beyond addressing day-to-day issues.
සමගි ජන සන්ධානයේ නායකත්වය යටතේ සියලුම විපක්ෂ ශක්තියින් එකතු කරගන්න ඕනේ.
We need to unite all opposition forces under the leadership of the Samagi Jana Sandhana. We are already united. We need to further increase our strength because there are still some forces not with us. Every parliamentary week, we are present at the opposition office. We gather and we discuss this. One point must be considered. I admit that we haven't agreed on a stable future plan beyond just discussing day-to-day issues. Because now is the time. There's an election in 5 years. A year is almost over. Not only that, the president can hold a presidential election anytime after 4 years. So I don't think there are even 3 more years until a major election.
තව අවුරුදු 3ක්වත් නැහැ ප්‍රධාන මැතිවරණයක් එන්න.
Dr. Nadisha Chandra, who won the 2025 World Intellectual Property Global Award for designing the world's first double-layer smart drain, arrived in the island last night. The 2025 World Intellectual Property Global Awards ceremony, organized by the World Intellectual Property Organization, was held recently in Geneva. 780 new inventions from 95 countries were submitted for the awards.
My team was awarded the 2025 World Intellectual Property Global Award, designated by the World Intellectual Property Organization, an affiliate of the United Nations. The award was given for the smart drain innovated by our team. The smart drain is designated to address open drains in urban areas that frequently experience flooding and blockages due to plastic and polythene accumulation. What the smart drain does is filter out and trap the blocking plastic and polythene from the upper layer, allowing rainwater to flow through the second layer during rainfall. We can call it the world's first double-layered smart drain.
The 100-year legacy of Nalanda College, Colombo was celebrated with the Nalanda Walk 2025 today.
Nalanda Walk 2025 took to the streets today celebrating 100 years of Nalanda College, Colombo. The walk commenced from the Nalanda College premises and concluded at Green Path. Organized as a key event in the centenary celebrations, the Nalanda Walk 2025 brought together all boys, staff and students who gathered to walk together in celebration of their alma mater's centenary. Sirasa TV and Sirasa FM are the media sponsors of the event.
Ukraine President Volodymyr Zelensky has proposed a new round of peace talks with Russia in a move aimed at restarting negotiations that halted last month.
Ukraine has proposed to hold a new round of peace talks with Russia next week after negotiations stalled last month. President Volodymyr Zelensky confirmed yesterday that Defense Council Secretary Rustem Umerov made the offer of a meeting with Russian negotiators for next week. Zelensky, in his evening address to the nation, reiterated his readiness to have a face-to-face sit-down with Putin.
Триває розмова з російською стороною щодо обмінів. Продовжуємо виконувати домовленості минулої зустрічі в Стамбулі. Зараз команда працює ще над одним обміном. Також секретар РНБО Умєров доповів, що запропонував російській стороні
наступну зустріч на наступному тижні. Переговорну динаміку треба збільшувати. Треба робити все, щоб досягти припинення вогню. І російській стороні треба перестати ховатись від рішень. Обмін полонених, повернення дітей, припинення вбивств. І потрібна зустріч на рівні лідерів, щоб реально забезпечити мир. Дійсно, тривалий. Україна готова до такої зустрічі.
Two rounds of talks in Istanbul between Moscow and Kiev have so far failed to result in any progress towards a ceasefire, but large-scale prisoner exchanges and deals to return the bodies of killed soldiers were agreed. After the last round, which ended in early June, Ukrainian negotiators said Russia had again rejected an unconditional ceasefire, a key demand by Kiev and its allies in Europe and the US. In previous rounds, Russia outlined a list of hardline demands that were not acceptable to Ukraine, calling on it to cede 4 Ukrainian regions it claims as its own and reject Western military support. At the time, Zelensky accused Moscow of doing everything it can to ensure the next possible meeting is fruitless. However, Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov on Friday indicated that Moscow agreed with a statement by Zelensky that peace efforts needed more momentum. The shift came after United States President Donald Trump, who initially appeared to adopt a conciliatory approach towards Russia after entering office, upped the pressure on Moscow. This week, Trump set a 50-day deadline for Moscow to reach a ceasefire in Ukraine or face 100% tariffs and the prospect of secondary sanctions being imposed on countries that buy Russian oil. He also promised to ramp up arms shipments to the war-battered country.
In more news overseas, voters in Japan cast their ballots in an upper house election today as a test of the popularity of Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba and his ruling coalition. Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba's Liberal Democratic Party and its coalition partner, Komito, were projected to lose their majority in the upper house, a defeat that could trigger Ishiba's resignation or political deadlock in parliament.
Japanese voters headed to the polls today in a tightly contested upper house election that could unleash political turmoil, with rising prices and immigration concerns threatening to weaken Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba's grip on power. Opinion polls suggest Ishiba's Liberal Democratic Party and coalition partner Komeito may fall short of the 50 seats needed to retain control of the 248-seat upper house of parliament in an election where half the seats are up for grabs. The polls show that small opposition parties pushing for tax cuts and increased public spending are set to gain, among them the right-wing Sanseito, which vows to curb immigration, oppose foreign capital inflows and reverse gender equality moves. A poor performance would not immediately trigger a change of government because the upper house lacks the power to file a no-confidence motion against a leader, but it would certainly deepen uncertainty over Ishiba's fate and Japan's political stability. Ishiba would face calls from within the LDP to resign or to find another coalition partner. The rising cost of living, especially for the staple food of rice, is a key issue for many voters, with population decline and foreign policy also on the agenda.
The Pacific Tsunami Warning Center says there is no longer a danger of tsunami waves on Russia's Kamchatka Peninsula after 5 powerful quakes, the largest with a magnitude of 7.4 struck in the sea nearby today. According to the U.S. Geological Survey, the largest quake was at a depth of 12 miles and was 89 miles east of the city of Petropavlovsk-Kamchatsky, which has a population of 180,000.
The Pacific Tsunami Warning Center had earlier issued a warning for Russia's Kamchatka Peninsula after 2 quake struck in the sea nearby today. The PTWC initially said there was a danger of major tsunami waves, but later downgraded its warning before finally saying the danger had passed. Russia's Emergencies Ministry also issued a tsunami warning following the largest quake, urging residents of coastal settlements to stay away from the shore. There were no immediate reports of casualties or damage, and the ministry said it had no immediate plans to evacuate residents. The US Tsunami Warning System 2 had issued a tsunami threat off the coast of Kamchatka, adding that tsunami waves ranging 0.3 to 1 meters above the tide level are possible for some coast of Russia. The US Tsunami Warning System 2 had issued a tsunami threat off the Kamchatka coast, adding that tsunami waves ranging 0.3 to 1 meters above the tide level are possible for some coasts of Russia. However, it was cancelled shortly afterwards. Russia's state-run TASS news agency later reported that a tsunami warning of Kamchatka was also lifted, citing local emergency services. Kamchatka coast is located in the Kamchatka region, facing the Pacific, northeast of Japan and west of the US state of Alaska across the Bering Sea.
A Delta Airlines flight from Los Angeles to Atlanta, a Boeing 767-400 aircraft had to make an emergency landing due to an engine fire soon after takeoff.
A Delta Airlines flight bound for Atlanta had to make an emergency landing back to Los Angeles International Airport after an engine reportedly caught fire shortly after takeoff on Friday. Flight DL446, operated by Boeing 767-400, was seen mid-flight with flames coming from the aircraft's left engine. However, no injuries were reported and fire crews extinguished the fire on the runway. According to an aviation report, the aircraft had just taken off from the airport when the engine caught fire. The flight crew announced an emergency and prepared to return to the airport. The air traffic control guided the plane back to the airport and alerted the emergency services on the ground. Passengers described what the captain announced, that fire crews were verifying that the engine fire is out. The cause of the fire is still unknown, and the Federal Aviation Administration launched an investigation into the incident. The aircraft is almost 25 years old and is powered by two General Electric CF6 engines.
Finally, news overseas. At least 3 people died after a passenger ferry carrying approximately 280 people caught fire off Telis Island in North Sulawesi, Indonesia, on Sunday while on its way to Manado port. Some passengers jumped into the sea to avoid flames, with many feared trapped on the ferry named KM Barcelona VA. A senior official at the Provincial Search and Rescue Office told foreign media that 3 people died and nearly 150 were rescued. The passengers were rescued by a combined team of rescuers and local fishing boats. Thick black smoke was seen billowing from the upper decks of the ferry. Authorities have launched a probe into the cause of the fire, and electrical faults, fuel leaks or engine malfunctions are some of the potential factors. Sri Lanka's Johan Manoj Ratnayaka secured 3rd place in the 35 to 39 age category at High Rocks, Delhi 2025.
Please give it up for Johan Ratnayaka.
The 2025 High Rocks Fitness Competition consists of 5 stages. The Delhi stage, which concluded yesterday, saw the participation of nearly 2,500 athletes. Athletes in this competition must cover a distance of 8 kilometers, facing many challenging obstacles. Sri Lanka's Johan Manoj Ratnayaka secured 3rd place in the 35-39 age category at the Delhi stage of the competition. The next stages are scheduled to be held in Sydney and Singapore. And with that, we wrap up news for tonight. Thank you very much for joining us. Do take care.